night, wherever you're joining us today in today's live lecture, coming to you from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. Today's lecture is our second lecture today in our lecture series, coming from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. Nkolo Mahadum is an university. We are not content creators. We are an university which presents lectures from the Igbo man, Biafran, and African perspectives. Today's date is Nkwo Market Day in the Igbo lunar calendar, and the 2nd of December 2025 in the Roman Catholic calendar. Remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call Akonuche in Igbo language. And we advise you to see things from how it concerns you, not how it concerns other cultures, because every culture protests their own. And that is why we package and present lectures from Biafran, from Igbo man, and African perspectives. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, we are live on Twitter, and we are live on TikTok. So join this lecture and go back to our previous lectures. The title of today's lecture is The Christian Genocide in Nigeria. We are saying that some Christians are the problem, and we hope they will change. The Christian genocide ongoing in Nigeria today, some Christians are the problem in Nigeria, and we hope they will change. Because there's no doubt that there is genocide going on in Nigeria. There's no doubt about that. The world knows that there's genocide going on. But why is it that some Christians are the problem? Let me tell you, Nigeria was ranked 6th in the 2025 Global Terrorist Index. Nigeria as a country is ranked number 6 in the Global Terrorist Index with a score of 7.658, moving up from the 8th position in 2023 and 2024, according to Conversation News, a US media outlet. So in 2025, Nigeria actually moved up in the terrorism index to number 6 from number 8. So there's no doubt that Nigeria is a terrorist country. Also, US Congressman Riley Moore also alleged that there was an alarming and ongoing persecution of Christians in the West African country of Nigeria. The congressman stated that 7,000 Christians had been killed in 2025. 7,000 lives of Christians had been killed in 2025 alone, which averages to 35 Christians every day. So every day in Nigeria today, an average of 35 Christians are killed every day, every day, every day. These are human lives, 35 every day. So there's no question that there's genocide going on in Nigeria. Even the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria says that conditions in Nigeria are giving credence to allegations of genocide in some parts of the nation. That everything that is going on, the killing is going on, the rampaging, the kidnapping, the killings is showing that there is evidence, credible allegations of genocide in some parts of Nigeria. I don't know why they are saying some parts, it's supposed to be all over Nigeria. And some people differ. Some people differ. Even the Vatican Secretary on October 28, 2025, who spoke through their Cardinal Pietro Parolin. The Vatican Secretary of State addressed the issue while presenting a new global report on religious freedom by the Aid to the Church in Need in Rome. According to him, the violence in Nigeria is not exclusively targeted at Christians, but has broader social and ethnic roots. You see why we are saying that Christianity is the problem? That even the Vatican, of whose members are being killed in Nigeria, many Catholic fathers had, many Catholic priests, many bishops have been kidnapped and killed. And they are saying that Nigeria is not exclusively targeted at Christian, but has a broader social and ethnic roots, which means they're not supporting that there's genocide in Nigeria. The Vatican, the head of the Catholic Church, is not supporting that there's genocide in Nigeria. Can you believe that? He continued, Mr. Cardinal Pietro Paroli continued, it is not a religious conflict. Much of the violence stems from social causes, such as land disputes between herders and farmers in North Central region, he said. So the Vatican believe that it is herders, farmers, clashes, all these killings going on in Nigeria, all this genocide going on in Nigeria. The Vatican disagrees. He continued, we should also recognize that many Muslims in Nigeria are themselves victims of this same intolerance. Yes, they are saying that even Muslims are also killed. Therefore, it's not Christian genocide. This is coming from the Vatican. From the Vatican. That is why we are saying that Christians are the problem. Even in Nigeria, some Christians are the problem. For the Vatican, the head of the Catholic Church, to be saying this, that it is herders, farmers clash, that the Muslims are also killed, forgetting that the Muslims that are being killed are the ones that not agreeing with that particular sect, because Muslims have different sects. There's moderate sect and there's this extremist sect. If you do not agree with their extremist ideology, even if you are a Muslim, that's when they will kill you. That's when they will kill you. And so that is the position of the head of the Catholic Church. If you go to Nigeria today and take the statistics, you will observe that many Christians that are being killed are Catholic members. And you will not be surprised, because even Bishop Matthew Kuka also spoke in the same event. Matthew Kuka advised the international community against designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. So Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka also spoke against the genocide, saying that Nigeria should not be designated as a country of particular concern. Bishop Kuka, who presented the Nigerian perspectives at the launch of the SCN 2025 War Report on Religious Freedom, acknowledged that the country's deep-seated issues, but insisted that Nigeria should be supported rather than placed as a country of concern. So why should we not be surprised when Kuka recently said that he has to wait for 10 million Christians to be killed, that even if the deaths of Christians is 10 million, it could not be classified as genocide. You see why we are saying at the Nkoloma that some Christians are the problems we have in that classification, in the invitation of Donald Trump to come. many Christians are the problem. Many Christians have the problem. Because what is very clear to the world that there's genocide going on, the Vatican City, the head of the Catholic Church in Rome, is saying otherwise. He's saying there's no genocide. And Bishop Matthew Kuka, who was representing Nigeria in that conference, also was kicking against designating Nigeria as a country of concern and was saying that there's no genocide in Nigeria. These are the problems we have. These are the problems. And even though Bishop Matthew Kuka recently was trying to correct himself, but information available have shown that Bishop Matthew Kuka is against the designation of the killings in Nigeria as genocide. He doesn't want to call it genocide, forgetting that we at Nkoloma have defined genocide as the killing of 5 to 10 people. When you kill more than 5 to 10 people, between 5 to 10 people, we classify that as a genocide at Nkoloma Wisdom University. Because these are human beings. These are not animals. Human life is precious. And for you to kill one human being up to 5 or 10, that should be genocide. But Kuka is saying that even if you kill up to 10 million, it's not yet genocide. What else is genocide? And even to make the matters worse, the current governor of Benue State said the following: in my state of Benue, we don't have any religious, ethnic, racial, national, or state genocide. The current governor of Benue State, he maintained, we don't have that. Do we have a number of insecurities in the state? Yes, according to the governor, we do. But it is not genocide. Governor Alia of Benue State, the current governor of Benue State, is the one saying this, stressing that the need for accurate representation of the crisis, which means all this shouting by his predecessor, Governor Otom, and other Christian leaders in the state, and what is being shown to the world doesn't make sense to the governor. That is why we are saying that some Christians are the problem in this genocide going on in Nigeria, and Governor Alia of Benue State is one of the problems. Because even though many Christians and non-Christians have been murdered in Benue State and lands taken and renamed in Benue State, he is still of the opinion that in his state of Benue State, of which he is governor, that we don't have any religious, ethnic, racial, national, or state genocide from a sitting governor. From a sitting governor. And he continued, we don't have that. Do we have a number of insecurities in the state? Yes, we do. But it is not genocide according to the governor. You see what we are saying? That is why we are saying that some Christians are and this Governor Alia is a reverend father of the Catholic Church. It's a reverend father of the Catholic Church. Isn't that annoying? In the same line of thoughts is Pastor Paul Adefarasin. Dr. Paul Adefarasin also says there's no genocide. These are Christian leaders. And many others are silent. Some of the people that are silent includes the one they call Nwa Baby Virgin. We haven't had Father Mbaka speak. Father Mbaka, who said that good luck Jonathan is bad luck, that Muhammad Buhari is God sent. We never heard from him about this Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. Pastor William following Shokumuyi reversed his comments. He changed his comments. You see? Because before he was saying that there's no genocide, but now he changed and said there's genocide going on. Pastor Chris Oyakilome, no clear message. And other pastors and other Christians, what is your stand in this genocide going on? Are you one of those saying that there's no genocide? If you're one of those saying that there's no genocide, then you are part of that problem. Yes, you are. And then many of the men of God and pastors are providing wrong messages to their followers, to those coming to their churches. They tell them to pray. That prayer is what you need to fight against terrorism. How can you use prayer to fight against terrorism? Against terrorists who are carrying sophisticated weapons. Some pastors and men of God tell their followers to forgive their killers and kidnappers. That God is the one to do justice to them, to fight for them. So if you are one of those pastors and reverend fathers telling your followers to pray or to forgive your killers and kidnappers, you are part of that problem we are talking about. And some will be telling them, some pastors will be telling their followers, those attending their churches, to accept repentant killers, repentant Boko Haram, to accept them. Others tell them, do not fight back. Don't fight back. God will fight for you. Jesus will fight for you. If you are one of those pastors doing so, you are part of the problem. That is why we are saying that some Christians are part of the problem of the Christian genocide being committed in Nigeria. Yes, they are. That's what we want you to know. And they should stop what they are doing right now. That genocide in Nigeria is not debatable. The world knows that there's genocide in Nigeria. But how come many of the Christians are silent? Many that are speaking are saying that there's no genocide. Why should I be? That is why we are saying that some Christians, in this case of genocide we are talking about in Nigeria today, that some Christians are the problem, and we hope that they will change. We need you to change. If not, all of us will be killed, Islamized, and Fulanized. If we do not change, we all will be killed, Islamized, and Fulanized. It happened in Turkey. It happened in Lebanon. It continues to happen in our eyes. Because in the case of genocide, Nigeria was ranked number 6 in 2025 in the Global Terrorist Index with a score of 7.658, moving up from 8th place in 2023 and 2024, according to the conversation from USA News. So, and US Congressman Riley Moore also alleged that there was an alarming and ongoing persecution of Christians in the West African country of Nigeria, with about 7,000 killed this year alone. Even Amnesty International have it that about 18,000 churches have been burned for about from 2009 to date. And even this year, about 6,000 churches have been burnt by Amnesty International. And the killing of 7,000, even Amnesty have it at 7,087, which averaged to 35 Christian lives every day. So there's no question of whether there's genocide or not. Yes, there's genocide. And then in Nigeria, the Bishops' Conference says the condition that is existing right now in Nigeria of the terrorists killing and burning churches are giving credence, are giving the support to say that there is genocide in Nigeria. According to the Crux, the Crux is the Catholic Pulse. This is by the Catholic Pulse. Catholic Pulse is the media that covered the Nigerian Bishops' Conference, where they said that there's evidence that there's genocide going on in Nigeria. But surprisingly, the Vatican, the head of the Catholic Church, their representative, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, addressed the issue of Nigerian genocide while presenting a new global report on religious freedom by the aid to the church in need in Rome. And according to him, the violence in Nigeria is not exclusively targeted at Christians, but has a broader social and ethnic roots, which means the Catholic Church, of which their members is the highest in the killing, in the death, in the genocide, is saying that there's no genocide. Can you believe that? And Mr. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary, continued, "It is not a religious conflict. Much of the violence stems from social causes such as land disputes between herders and farmers in the North Central region," he said. "We should also recognize that many Muslims in Nigeria are themselves victims of this same intolerance. These are extremist groups that make no distinction in pursuing their goals. They use violence against anyone they see as an opponent." This is the Vatican speaking, which is the Catholic Church does not believe that there's genocide going on in Nigeria. And then if the Catholic Church cannot believe that there's the official statement for the Catholic Church is not agreeing that there's genocide in Nigeria, then what are the Christian leaders doing in Nigeria? What are they doing? And surprisingly, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka also spoke in that conference where the Vatican Secretary made the statement. And Matthew Kuka of the Diocese of Sokoto Diocese advised the international community against designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Bishop Kuka, who presented the Nigerian perspective at the launch of the ASEAN 2025 War Report on Religious Freedom, acknowledged the country's deep-seated issues, but insisted that Nigeria should be supported rather than punished, which means Bishop Kuka is saying that there's no genocide in Nigeria. These are your leaders. These are your leaders. That's why we are saying that Christians are the problem of this genocide going on in Nigeria. And then, to make matters worse, The current governor of Benue State said that in my state, we don't have any religious, ethnic, racial, national, or state genocide. The current governor of Benue State, he continued, we don't have that. Do we have a number of insecurities in the state? Yes, we do, but it is not genocide. So the governor, Alia of Benue State, is saying that there's no genocide, that there's no accurate presentation or representation of the issue. This is what the sitting governor is saying. Compare this to what Governor Autumn, his predecessor, when was going through, was shouting for throughout the 8 years of his government. How can this be? And this Governor Alia is a Catholic father. It's a Catholic priest. Use your tongue to count your teeth. Use your tongue to count your teeth. You understand that the Christian leaders are the problems in Nigeria concerning this genocide or no genocide issue. They are the problem. And then Pastor Paul Adefarasi says that there's no genocide. Many are still silent. Many of the Christian leaders and their followers are silent, including one baby virgin. The one baby virgin in Lagos, Father Mbaka in Enugu. They are silent, and so many others. Why are you silent in the face of genocide facing your church members? Why are you silent? If you are silent, you are one of the problems. You are one of the problems. And then Pastor William Kumuyi was dancing. He was dancing from both sides to that side. Last time he said there was no genocide. This time he's saying there's genocide. Can you imagine that? They are dancing on the fence on what is clear. Christian leaders. And then Pastor Chris Ayakilome have not spoken. Silent. Can you imagine that? In the face of clear genocide against Christian followers. And then many of the pastors, many of the reverend fathers, many of the men of God pass wrong messages to their followers. They tell them to pray, forgive your killers and kidnappers, accept repentant Boko Haram and killers and kidnappers. Do not fight back. All these are wrong messages meant to lead all of us to Islamization and Fulanization. And before we end, we have to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, like, comment, and share. And if you want to appear on our interactive session, let us know in the comment section, and we shall invite you to speak to the world from Nkola Mahadum Wisdom University. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, comment, and share. Thank you, and have a good one.